Hello and welcome back to the Scriptable Objects CardRPG tutorial part 15. We're going to be working on the hover visualization today. So when you hover over certain things like HP and stamina and cards and different abilities, it'll explain what they do. Basically, it won't obscure the player. As soon as you remove the mouse off of it, it will not be there anymore. So let's get going and get to it. So we're going to right click inside scripts. And we're going to do create C# script, and we're going to type hover. Let's open hover up. Get rid of start and update. So we're going to need a public game object info panel. We'll do a start, private void start. We need a public void on hover. And we need a public void on exit. Inside there, all we're going to do is do info panel dot set active true, and we're going to copy it into the on exit and do info panel set active false. We're going to also call on exit on start so that we don't have to worry about having whether things need to be on or off. Now wait for it to compile. Back to Unity. And then we will start putting them on things. In the enemy status, we're going to hit add component here and type hover. In the prefab, enemy status prefabs. And the game object we're going to give them is the info panel. In the player status, we're going to do the same thing. Add the hover. And we're going to still add the info panel. Then we have to make info panels for the rest of it. But it's all going to be pretty simple, right? So we also have to go into the trinket, because we want to hover the trinket as well, right? So we want to make trinket have a hover, and we're going to hover the panel. So we need something else to add to the hover script for the object in order to have the on hover and on exit commands methods work. And that's going to be an event trigger. So we need an event trigger on each thing you add a hover to. We have to add new event type and do on pointer enter, and another one for pointer exit. And we're going to hit the plus sign on both of these, and we just drag the hover in right there, and we do change this to hover on exit. Do the next one for player status, same thing. I don't think this is the ones you can copy, but oh, good, you can copy it. So let's copy it, and we're going to put it into the player status, right click, paste component as new. It says trinket hover, so we just need to make sure we still change the values to player status. On hover on exit. And then again with the enemy status, so we're just going to copy or right click and paste. Change the hover to the correct hover. Hover on exit. So let's go in and test it. Now we don't have any player statuses right now, so we can't check them. We can hover over pants down, and pants down works. Tells you exactly what it is when you hover it. And then we go to the vulnerable here, and it doesn't work. So let's see where the problem is. We're not getting any response at all from it. Let's go into where the enemy is. So enemy spawn, enemy clone. Into the enemy UI, and I see the problem right here. We need to add a component of a graphic raycaster, which then lets us be able to hover it. So you hover it, it says vulnerable, take 50% more damage. So we are going to now get out of this, and we will go back to the enemy UI, so inside enemy, in the prefab, enemy UI, add a graphic raycaster, hit apply. So the best thing about this hover system is we can literally put it anywhere. So we're going to go over to the draw pile. We're going to click on it in the inspector, or in the hierarchy, and we're going to add a hover right here. It's going to ask for what the panel is going to be, but we need the info panel. So what we need to do is we're going to take a modified version of it. We're going to drop player status into the status effects container. We're going to click on info panel. We're going to game object break prefab instance. So now it's just the info panel is what we need, just this panel. We're also going to get rid of the title. And inside info text, we're going to bring the top to 7. So it has equidistant padding between the top and bottom. It looks nice. We're going to bring info panel as a prefab, and then we'll delete this entire player status thing because it doesn't actually exist. Now we can go to the draw pile. We can drop an info panel in right here. Now it's going to tell you what you want it to say. We can have it say anything, right? We can actually have the text just say cards left in your deck when your deck reaches 0. It reshuffles. Right? We just put that right. Put the info panel right. I don't know. Right here. That's fine, right? Make sure we turn raycast target off on it. Hit apply on that info panel so that it doesn't not in the way. So you can't actually click on it, right? Turn raycast target off on info panel. Turn raycast target off on info text as well, and apply on there. So now, all we have to do again is add the event trigger, the info panel, and then enter, exit, plus plus, hover, on hover, on exit. Right? That's really all we have to do. Now that will show up when we hover over it. Right? Actually, we have the draw pile one done, so let's do the discard pile. So we're just going to duplicate the info panel, put it on the discard pile, move it over. We're going to change the text here. Any cards that are played end up here. And then we can always modify the size of this, of the actual panel, so it doesn't look as silly. Put it right there, wherever we want it. And then we just make sure we add hover and event trigger. So it's always enter, exit, plus plus, drag the hovers in, hover on hover, hover on exit. That's how it always is. And for the system, it's that simple. Right? We're going to add 3 more. We want to hover block, we want to hover HP, and we want to hover stamina. Let's do that as well. Copy info panel, which we did. We're going to uncollapse user UI. We're going to drop an info panel on HP, copy, drop an info panel on stamina text, copy, drop an info panel on block text, and put 1 more on health info text. There's just 1 on everything, right? Thankfully, HP and info panel will have the exact same panel. Actually, we're gonna get rid of the HP one, and we'll just have the same. We'll just have it target for both of these. We'll have it target the same one. So we're gonna put all of these in the same spot. We'll put this one a little bit over here. This one says, this is for health, it says, when your HP reaches 0, you lose. This one says, damage is removed from blocked before removing HP. And then we'll do another one in stamina. Stamina is, you can only play cards equal to how much stamina you have. So now all we need to do is for this one and this one, we need a hover and event triggers. They both take this info panel, which makes it easier. Then you can't multi-object edit an event trigger, so you have to do the enter exit and the enter exit on both, basically. So plus plus, hover panel, hover on exit. Same thing with this one. So all I'm doing here, I'm not doing anything that's contributing to the actual game. I'm doing something that helps the player who's never played the game before understand what these values do. I think that's also a very important thing. Enter exit, plus, drop the hovers in, hover on exit. Game object required, this info panel 3. Stamina text, the last one. Hover, event trigger, on enter, on exit, plus, hover on exit. It should work. They all disappear, except for the stamina one, because I didn't actually make the stamina one attached to it. So we need to put the info panel. This is inside stamina there. Now we hit play. And you hover stamina. Oh, there's an info panel of hover not assigned. So we never assigned it for the discard pile either. Discard pile info panel. There we go. Now you hover stamina. You only play cards that equal to how much stamina you have. Your HP reaches 0, you lose. See, I can't. It doesn't disappear there. Damage is removed from block before removing HP. There we go. Now we have explaining everywhere. Everything looks good. The only thing we need to do is this hover right here, and it's going to be a little bit more on the complicated side, and that's okay. We're going to put that inside the enemy UI. It's going to be another info panel, well, another hover panel, and that has to be this intent right here. So what we're going to do is intent displays right here. So we need to do a hover component on this guy, right? And we also make sure we need to put the event trigger on here as well with an enter and an exit, right? We also need to make the game object too, but let's just finish configuring this. Hover on exit. Okay, so now we need an info panel. So we need to duplicate the info panel here, bring him in, to put him as a parent of intent display. We need to drag intent displays one up here, and basically we're gonna have this say different things based on what intent is currently going on. So which intent? This is just placeholder, right? So now we need to go into the enemy and make sure that we have the correct stuff happening. So inside the enemy, here's the intent stuff, right? So we need another text called intent info text. Then we just have to go to where this is pretty much where the stuff is changing. So hit Shift F12 on intent image. There's the ship. There's everything. The different references. So we're going to go down there. We're choose intent for next turn, right? We also need to set the intent. So here's where the damage intent happens. So we're going to do e.intent info text.text equals, and inside quotes we're going to put this enemy intends to attack. We're going to copy this line. We're going to put it after defend. We're going to put it after buff, and we'll put it after disable. This enemy intends to block. This enemy intends to buff themselves. This enemy and this enemy intends to curse you. Perfect. Right? That's all we have to do. Then we just need a reference on the enemy manager. We need a reference on the enemy prefab to this info panel. The info panel's text. which is going to sit here. Hit apply. We hit the turn play, right? We need to then assign an info panel stuff, right. And now we need a game object for the info panel. Let's just call this intent info panel. Back in intent display, we are going to bring this object right here and hit apply. And I think that's everything. So we're going to hit play here. It should turn all of these off. You hover this, then we intends to attack. We hit end turn, we take 5 damage. This enemy intends to curse you. So now intent shows exactly what's going to happen. Right? The enemy intends to block. So now you know exactly what's going to happen every time. And we have all the hovering working. We have over the HP, the block, the stamina, the intent, the statuses. The statuses up here work as well. Then we have the trinket, the draw, and the discard. You can add more. You can add one for end turn if you want to. You can add one for literally anywhere if you needed to, right? So that is the hover system. It's pretty straightforward. You can actually even make it where you fade it in, fade it out if you wanted to. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you really like it, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot. We're nearing completion of this. We have a couple more videos left, and we're very excited to get this one completely wrapped up and let you guys kind of just do your thing with it. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. See ya.